This is Daybreak Live. Stay with us this morning. Good morning to you, Thompson.
Good morning to you, Anu. Good to have you back on this show.
It's a pleasure being here.
All right. Interestingly, a lot of interesting stories to be discussed today, and definitely a fantastic one on the big story much later on the show. But then let's talk about Omoyele Sowore, who happens to be human rights activist in Nigeria, if you know, once you put it that way, but also is a politician. He was the presidential candidate of the AAC at some point. He's arguably the convener of the Take It Back movement in Nigeria. And definitely there's a lot between himself and the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And people are saying so much. And when you talk about situations where you want to say, oh, there's freedom of expression or freedom of speech, there are limitations, and too many people don't know that. And you know, sometimes when the government cracks down on people who say so much about the government, then some Nigerians will think, oh, it is witch hunt, basically witch hunt. And sometimes it is not always like that. How do you call a president of a sovereign nation a criminal? I mean, that is actually criminal, if you want to put it that way.
I mean, it's derogatory to speak ill of your president in that manner. You can have conversations where you don't agree with someone's stance or position or his governance, but it doesn't really give you the effrontery to speak to the president in such a manner, to call him that word, because that goes beyond. It's not like abusing, just saying that this person is not competent. But this one is saying a criminal is a criminal word, like you mentioned too. So it's something to, I think, but let us get into the heart of the matter, especially how it unfolded at the court level. You know, so this was the amended charge, a 2-count charge that was, you know, filed against Omoyele Sowore. So I'm just going to read through very quickly. It says that you, Omoyele Sowore, about August 25, 2025, did knowingly or intentionally send a message by means of a computer system or network to with your official X, formerly Twitter, Yele Sowore, when you posted the following tweeted message. This criminal official, of course, that was when he tagged the president, actually went to Brazil to state that there is no more corruption under his regime in Nigeria. And so the amended charge goes on to say that what audacity to lie shamelessly, according to Sowore, which message you knew to be false and posted for the purpose of causing a breakdown of law and order in Nigeria, and all of that. And that's according to the cyber stalking contract section of the law. The Nigerian Constitution, Section 24, subsection 1B, Section 24, subsection 2A and B and C of the Cybercrimes Prohibition, and all of that. But I just want to say that I think I was trying to check, to do a bit of research yesterday to see what exactly the Constitution says to people who actually come out to say those kind of things. You know, but the Nigerian Constitution guarantees freedom of expression, which we also know as provided in the Constitution of the country, including the right to criticize public office holders. However, making a false claim that the president is a criminal, in quotes, could be considered a criminal or civil offense, like you mentioned, under defamation laws, particularly if it causes reputational harm and is made without evidence. Now, of course, you are guaranteed to speak according to Section 39, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. It guarantees every person's right to freedom of expression. You can say what you want to say. But again, I think one of the issues we've been finding in recent times is that the use of social media has made it so easy for people to now say things.
The rules.
Exactly. So so they feel like, maybe, I don't know if people feel what I type does not
doesn't really count.
Doesn't count as much as what I say. I don't know if there's, you know, that psychology in the head of people.
Maybe people have that misconception.
Because if you check Twitter too, you see the way people go about to fight online. Some even go ahead to say things like
threaten other people
online,
or even bully.
This cyberbullying, there's threat. You see that if I meet you, I'm going to maim you. Those kind of, and you say you type it as if there's no big deal. It's just the same thing, the same gravity it takes to say it.
Because it's coming from you.
Exactly.
Regardless of what medium.
Absolutely. So I feel like if social media, if you don't have this understanding, I mean, a lot of businesses will still flout the rules again and again. But I just wanted to call to, maybe just call to the chase to say that it's okay to say whatever you want to say, but be ready to take the consequences. Omoyele Sowore made the comment And this, I can agree if you want to criticize the government. You criticize everything you can, but don't go personal. If you go personal to cause a president, someone who's supposed to be the number one person, number one citizen of the country, in your country. Now, again, moving it from that, it has a far-reaching implication to the rest of the world. Because there's a Yoruba thing, I'm trying to look for a way to say it, that if you sell your own person at a very cheap price, you cannot buy them at an expensive price. Absolutely. So if you speak ill of your president, then no other person in the world would say your president is of credibility or anything. Now, there's been that conversation, some are saying, okay, maybe, just maybe, if the president was, taken to court, if the clause of immunity does not stand, maybe Omoyole might be right. But even if you're right, let the court decide. You are not a court that will decide that someone is a criminal or the president is a criminal based on what you've seen. Now, the court is going to hear on Thursday, and then they will ask questions like, oh yeah, present your case. You said this, where is the evidence? How can you, like Burna Boy said, you just be talking, no evidence. So where's the evidence to show that the president is a criminal? Don't make statements like this. And I think it's also good that, the presidency, the DSS, and every other person in this suit would take this seriously. To make people who want to do the same think about it twice and not go ahead. I also want to quickly to mention that they removed X and Meta from all of the, I think before it was Omoyele Sowore, and then, X and Meta was also involved because they said that was the platform that they used to make that statement. But, they have come out to say that the X actually messaged him to take down the message when they discovered, but it did not take it down. In fact, I think he filed a countersuit against them that he has a right to speak his mind, to say whatever he wants to say, and so that was it. So that was why the DSS removed X and Meta from this conversation to say, okay, you're not.
They did what they should have.
Exactly. You've done your bit, so it's not a problem. This is the person we're tackling, but I'm hoping to see what becomes of this.
Well, definitely, a lot will still happen. Of course, the court case is still pending. It will be heard very soon. But what I see is that I think Nigerians really do not understand what freedom of speech and freedom of expression really means. And for someone like Omoyele Sowore, I think he should know better, because he was around during the military regime, and he knows exactly what happened back then. You could remember, if we go down history lane, you would understand that so many people faced tribulations for saying the simplest of things, and definitely you would now compare that to what is currently going on now. People think, yes, because it is the democratic era, I can just walk about, say whatever I like, do whatever I like, and nobody dare question me about what I do, especially when I have a name or maybe I have a face. I mean, we've seen average Nigerians who have actually, driven against traffic rules, and they feel like, you don't know me, who are you? I mean, there's a rule. I mean, you are nobody before the rule of the nation, and nobody should take any other person a criminal until a court of law actually does that. So it is until he or she is pronounced a criminal that then you can actually say, oh, this person is a criminal. So Omoyele Sowore was wrong on that part. Now, going down memory lane, I think in the 1970s, during the Olusegun Obasanjo regime as a military era, Fela Anikulapo Kuti was arrested for saying things against the president. And Gani Fawehinmi to also suffer the same fate, especially under Babangida and Abacha era, when it was a multiple arrest for Gani Fawehinmi. I mean, it's there in the history books for you to know that how many times he was arrested, just because, yes, at that time, he was an activist. He was trying to fight for the people, and well, maybe by mistake or by intentionally, he said some things against the president of the day at that time, and then he got arrested so many times. And also, even Omoyele Sowore, during the Buhari regime, I think by now, you should have learned things you can say and things you cannot say. Because during the Buhari regime, he also did the same thing, and he was arrested. Dino Melaye hid under legislative immunity for some time because he was making, some derogatory remarks against President Buhari at that time, and then he had so many issues with him back and forth. There was a time he said he slept in the bush. I think he said he was on a tree and was just there. So many things. He was in court. shorts, with this neck brace.
Yeah.
He had so many, saga with them. Nnamdi Kanu, for example, too, also had the same issue with Buhari at the time, and also with President Tinubu now. I don't think President Tinubu or anyone close to him actually charged Nnamdi Kanu because of those remarks he made against him. But I know, for example, that I think President Muhammadu Buhari also had this same encounter with him. Dino Milaya, as I mentioned earlier, Dele Adejoju, who is also a human rights activist, also had so many issues, especially during the Buhari era. He said so many things, a vocal activist who publicly criticized and used strong language against the president and top officials in the country. Now, how about Femi Falana? We have had so many people who have had encounters with the president of the day about what they say to them and how they said it. But the truth of the matter is, at this point, I think everyone should sit down and maybe buy yourself a copy of the Nigerian Constitution if you don't have one. And if you do have one, go through it. There are things you do not do. I mean, maybe if you put the Constitution aside as a Yoruba person, because I think Omoyele Sowore definitely is a Yoruba person. Deji Adeyanju, for example, is also from the Yoruba tribe. But then, I think the Yoruba tribe gives you a kind of a break. I mean, it breaks you when you want to, veer off the road. I mean, there's this tradition that says you do not say things to elders like that. I mean, if you check the distance between Omoyele Sowore and President Tinubu, I mean, it's a long distance. I mean, in terms of age. So you have to observe a little bit of respect there. And even religion, does not permit you to disrespect people like that. Yes, you can make your claims, you can complain about what they've been doing that is not right, especially when you are fighting. I mean, you are obviously fighting for the people. Then you can make claims. But at this point, I think someone should be made a scapegoat. Until that is done, someone will also come back someday and say, oh, because Omoyele Sowore was charged to court and nothing eventually happened, I have the freedom and the liberty to say whatever I like and I can walk away and nothing will happen.
Let me speak to what you've said quite honestly now. The potential consequences, this is a matter to be decided. I think I saw it early this morning, that it's going to be on Thursday, but we are waiting for that. So if a person is found guilty of defaming the president, they could face imprisonment or fine or both. And then under the law, and although most cases are pursued through civil lawsuits or damages and all of that, but there are limitations to what we can say, like we've been saying. There's the limit to the rights that you have, the freedom of expression that you explained to, that is not absolute, right? It is subject to laws that are reasonably justified and a democratic society for purposes such as protecting the right and reputation of persons. Now, let me just say quickly, some have also said, if this is the case for Omoyele Sowore, why was this never a case for Reno or Mokri? There's been that question, because Reno also spoke ill of
the president.
So I mean, so
even before he became president.
That's the issue. So instead of going against
he got
Reno,
an appointment.
He got an appointment. So how does it play out for different personalities?
Once you join the winning camp, your sins are forgiven. Let's go to weather report.